Alright, well, the Southern Hemisphere has finally decided to put on a show. It is stunning weather today, like so good. And I figured it'd be a good opportunity to share with you guys what it's like to fly in New Zealand. It's a pretty unique place. Things are quite different in some aspects and very much the same in others. I'm not going to delve too deep into the details of things, but we're just going to go fly to my favorite little local spot and maybe go grab a coffee. We'll talk about the flight. We'll show you guys the VFR maps and the little intricacies of it all. What I've sort of found over my time, I've been quite privileged in my journeys, and I've managed to do a lot of VFR flying in a lot of different countries. I also hold licenses in quite a few different countries, so that means I had to do the law exams and all of that. And yeah, there's quite a lot different between them all. It's rather surprising, and you know, we expect them to all be ICAO compliant countries, but some of the reason they decided to make things very different, like VFR minimums in every country is pretty much slightly different. Airspace designations and what's allowed to fly into that airspace and how you enter that airspace is completely different in most countries, and they differ from country to country. And licensing requirements, all these things are different. So this is not gonna be tutorial on how to fly in New Zealand. This is not instructional. Yeah, we're just gonna go have fun, fly, and I'll share what I can along the way. All right, guys. I've got my iPad here. I'm gonna sort of screen capture this and share the flight with you guys. As you can tell, we're here at Mercer. This is a little airport where I'm based at. It's surrounded these little blue dots is what we call a mandatory broadcast zone in New Zealand, and you have to mandatorily broadcast at a 10-minute interval on 119.2 if you're in this block here, and that happens to also be the same frequency of the airport that I'm at. This is a very busy training area, which is why that is the way it is. So our flight today is going to take us out west. This river right here is the Waikato River. We're gonna grab the Waikato River and we're gonna track all the way along into the ocean. It's a beautiful little flight, takes me right past my house, and then we're gonna take it south along the shore. This is the beautiful part of the New Zealand west coast. And we're gonna fly right down to Raglan. Raglan's another little airport. Yeah, frequencies is quite interesting here. As you guys can also tell, the map looks very different to what a US VFR chart would look like. So things are quite different here, and yeah, you definitely need to know what you're doing, otherwise you end up on the wrong frequency. And joining procedures is also different, but we'll chat about that as we get going. That's traffic, Charlie Lima, rolling runway 27, departing to the west, climbing 1,000 feet. And we're airborne, T's and P's on the green. So we're over at the river now, still tracking westerly, just along the river. Want to drop to 1,000 feet. We got some airspace above us, so for a minute there we're going to get really close to the 1,500 foot shelf for Auckland International, which is Charlie airspace. Charlie airspace in New Zealand is the most comparable I can compare it to is what Bravo is in the US. It is heavily controlled. You need permission prior to entry, and yeah, it's what an international airport uses. We're going to switch frequencies now, so we are, you guys see this this area here, the neon area. That is what we call a common frequency zone. So in New Zealand, if you're in that area, you have to be on a common frequency. So you need to be talking on that frequency, whatever it may be. And if you're outside of it, you have to usually just resort to 119.1, and obviously just check for any aerodromes and make sure you're broadcasting on their positions as well. So yeah, little general rundown of the map. You know, obviously
Yellow is populated area, so developed area. Blue lines obviously designate airspace, and everything in purple is a designation of what that airspace is, etc. Yeah, I mean, pretty basic stuff. You got the round circles, which is a mandatory broadcast zone, and then the old diamonds, which show you a common frequency zone. Another thing I really enjoy about New Zealand is reporting points. So here you can see a Hotel de Vin. They give you a reporting point. So you don't have to pick little villages out in the middle of nowhere here. You pick the main reporting points and you report your position relative to the nearest one to you. A lot of people here don't do that. A lot of people here report just random little villages, and as someone that didn't grow up here, that becomes a bit of a challenge, figuring out where the hell they just mentioned they are. But I really like these reporting points. I also like the common frequency zones. I think that's a really powerful tool. We're over the river mouth here. It's super low tide, so a lot of everything's sticking out here. Super low tide means that a beach landing might be on order. So before we fly into Raglan, it's always good to have a look at the plates, get an idea of what the joining procedures are. I'm very familiar with them, but there was recently an update, so we'll just make sure that everything's good. So in a nutshell, everything still looks the same. We have some dogs and stuff on the runway occasional. People walking across. Yeah, we got runway 23 and 05. No distinct runway directions here, not designating right-hand patterns for anything, but we'll just do the usual pattern out over the bay. Very basic stuff. But they do get different sometimes, like most controlled airports have preferred VFR arrival procedures, which you have to follow. Okay, the beach is looking way too good today, so we better go have a little beach landing. One of the awesome things about New Zealand is beaches are considered public road, so as long as you're not causing a nuisance to anybody or anything, they're free reign. This is one of my favorite beaches to land on. It's just in the middle of nowhere, not bothering anyone. Yeah, about as good as it gets, so that's what we're gonna do. Bit of a side slip. I already dragged the wheels, so I know it's good. I know it's compact. Alright, beautiful. This beach is always just so good. So good.
Just like that, we're on the beach. One of the coolest things you can do in New Zealand is land an airplane on the beach. I still want to do a couple of episodes of camping out here and stuff. This is one of my favorite spots, this one in particular. Doesn't get better than this. It's about as good as it gets, honestly.
Mr. Traffic Charlie Lima, final runway 27, full stop. Oh man, it's just beautiful. Summer is just so awesome. And we're here. This runway feels so rough compared to the beach. The beach is so smooth. Alright! That was a great flight. I love that. That was so good. Weather's still great. I could continue flying for at least another 2 hours, but we'll call quits now. Save the fuel for later. And yeah, I appreciate you guys coming along. I always love making these sporties episodes. Hopefully this was a bit informative. Gave you guys a bit more insight into what it's like to fly in New Zealand. I know it was a bit informal, but I don't want to make these episodes too formal, you know? It's like, they're not instructional. They're just, we're going on an adventure. And yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next episode. Anything New Zealand related, Charlie related. Yeah, I can do it all. And yeah, I'll see you guys then.